Hey, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of 2026 John Talks Indian Cinema. I'm your host, the very humble Indian Cine-MANIAC, back with another 15, 20-minute review. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm actually shooting this in December. It's not going to air till uh, probably New Year's. I got a bunch of other stuff already scheduled, but I wanted to do this while it was still fresh in my head, and I wanted to wish you all a happy new year, which will be coming shortly. I'm also, fingers crossed, that when this drops, I will have hit 2,500 subscribers. Now, I'm banking on that. We'll see what happens. I hope so. We're getting close. We're very close. But okay, so here's the film. And let me say up front, I am not going to spoil this film. You want to see the ending of this film without knowing anything about it. So I'm going to say that up front, okay? So the film that I am going to be reviewing was recommended, and let me tell you something about this particular person. Very persistent in getting me to watch this. And you know, I kept telling him, I'm saying him, if you're a female, tell me, but I keep telling him, I'll get to it, because I was filming so many other things. But I finally watched it, and it's at R Sum per Puras Purasan Laks. I know I'm not saying that right, but it's RSOMEPEROSNLAKS. Now, here's the other thing funny about this particular person, because I watched the film. I told him I watched it, and that the review would be coming out later. And he asked me, do I want him to give me some recommendations based on what I thought about this film? And I said, yeah, do it. So he gave me 3 films. One was Masan, one was Hader, and one was The Lunchbox. And I laughed because you have amazing taste in films, because I've already reviewed 2 of those films on the other channel. I reviewed Hader, which of course is Shakespeare, and I also did The Lunchbox, which I loved. I really liked Hader. I loved The Lunchbox. So the film that he was persistent in me watching is a 2025 release called Homebound. And this film was directed by Neeraj Ghaywan, who also directed Sacred Games. It stars Ishaan Khatter, who I've never seen before, Vishal Jethwa, who was in Tiger 3, Janhvi Kapoor. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't think it's Janhvi, it's Janhvi, who was in Devara, excuse me, part 1, in Rocky and Rani, and then Sridhar Dubey, who was in Gangs of Wasseypur, OMG2, and Bola. Okay. A couple things about this film. Martin Scorsese was an executive producer of this film. It was the director's only second film with a 20-year gap in between films. The film was based on an article, a New York Times article called Taking Amrit Home, which was the journey of 2 friends, Mohammed Sayab and Amit Kumar, as they tried to return to their homes during the first wave of COVID. And the theme of this film is bigotry against caste, bigotry against religion. Now, there were some things I did not catch in this film that I need clarification on, and I know you guys will be able to do that for me. So, the story is really a simple story. It's about 2 best friends. And the one thing in Indian films that I have seen from the beginning is the bromances, the love that men have for each other as friends. Because there was at one point in this film where I was like, is this going to be more than friends? Is that where they're going with this? And it wasn't. And it's a beautiful story about 2 friends who have each other's backs. Then there's a split. and then they get back together, and it's their journey. And part of the journey takes place at the beginning of COVID. And I will also tell you this as the film watcher, the COVID stuff was really hard to watch for me for a lot of reasons. And the biggest reason was yes, all the deaths were terrible. But the stuff that was done to people, healthy people, the draconian things that were done to businesses, um, it it brought it all back. And I've really tried to put that way back there. Some of the crazy things we were doing, and that was tough. And the way it was represented in the film was super effective, like creepy effective. Um, but basically, and again, no spoilers. These two friends, and their names are well, it's funny because one guy was named Muhammad, and he was the older guy, but he went by Shoiba. Shoiba, I think that's how you pronounce it. Shoiba, Shoiba. I think that's what it was. No, Shoab, Shoaib. Shoab. So Shoab and Chandan both apply, and that's how the film opens. It opens up. They're going to a train to take the police exam. And when they come down the stairs, there's hundreds of people applying for this police position. In fact, there was 2.5 million applicants for 3,500 positions. So that's how the film opens. And Shadan meets Suda, a love interest, and she's very funny. The opening scene is very funny, and you could see the two friends what kind of relationship they have because Shandon, who's the younger one, when he saw all the people, just turned around and started heading back. And his friend talked him into staying. No, we're here. Let's do it. You have as good a chance as anybody. And then what I thought was a flashback to the village is actually a year later, and they still haven't got the results of their exam. Well, both families are getting desperate for money, so they one goes to school, one takes a job working at a water treatment. They sell water treatment filtration machines. And through the course of the movie, he ends up becoming a pretty good salesman. Shandan um, ends up leaving school because his older father was going to go to work, and he went in his place. And in each of their respective areas where they diverge a little bit, Muhammad is getting bullied for being a Muslim, and Shandon is getting bullied for being lower caste, and to the point where he won't say what his religion is, and that comes to play later on. Well, what ends up happening is Shandon ends up passing the exam where Muhammad didn't. So that causes a rift between the two because Muhammad's like, I'm the one who talked you into doing this, and I didn't make it. Well, on top of it, they postpone the I don't know what you call it, where they become the position. First of all, the exams were delayed, but also putting people in position was delayed for whatever reason. They really didn't say what the reason was. And then the rest of the movie is that journey, and they end up reconciling, meeting up, and end up working for the same place. And that's when the last 45 minutes COVID hits, and it's only a 2-hour movie. And now their fabric mill is being shut down. So there's no money coming in. So they all decide they're going to leave. Leaving when everyone is supposed to stay locked in, and the after effect of that, where people are out in the streets getting beat up by cops because they're out in the street with their masks on. Again, reliving the horrible time in the world's history. And I don't know. I mean, I know India really locked down during COVID. So did we, but it was certain states locked down far worse than others. I mean, they were arresting people if you had more than 6 people in your house in certain states. Now, the state I live in is one of the states that did stuff like that. But this was like, I mean, they showed scenes of empty streets, like a nuclear bomb went off, but there was no damage to the buildings, but nobody's there. And then it's how do they get back? And in that last 20 minutes, this is a very slow paced film, but the payoff makes that worthwhile because it's building to something. And that, again, the last 20 minutes is very emotional and really well performed by the actors. The two leads were phenomenal. But here, so I thought the story, I loved the story. I loved the story. I gave the story a 5. And again, it's not like, how do I explain this? It's less of a story and more of just following along in the lives of these two friends. That's really what it is, and the things that happen to them. Right now, the performances, the two leads were phenomenal. Um, as Muhammad's getting bullied, he's trying to ignore it, and there's a scene where there's a cricket match, and it's Pakistan versus India. And all his co-workers, including his boss, are rooting for India, and it gets very close. But India pulls it out, and he's happy that India won. Well, now they start riding him. He's probably upset that Pakistan didn't win. Then they started throwing something about the food, and you can see him slow burning, right? And finally goes, "That's it. I resign. I can't take it anymore." And he quits his job, a job he needs. And Shandin, who starts off kind of innocent, young, right? The parents put him through school, not the sister. Um, and the arc that his story goes through is also really good. But I'll tell you what really impressed me with the performances. It it I found this to be one of the most realistic portrayals of families in probably out of I think I've watched over 300 Indian films. Probably 5 I've seen this kind of realistic portrayal of family. The dialogue, and the dialogue is phenomenal in this film. Very naturalistic, nothing over the top. I mean, it really is like they stuck a camera in these two people's lives, and that's what you see because the dialogue is excellent, the performances are excellent, nothing big. But I thought the performances were fantastic. I gave the performances a 5. Now, excuse me, I'm so excited about this film. The music, there was no musical numbers, and there was very little music in this, which fit this film to a T. There was a lot of silence, and it really helped this film create this environment. It really was. It's a very quiet film. I've said that about a few films, but it really is. Um, so the music was fine. I gave it a 3. But overall, this was, I wasn't quite sure at the beginning because it was really, it's a slow burn. So I was like, and it's only 2 hours. Like, where are they going with this? It's just, I thought it was going to be, one's going to be a cop, one's going to be a crook. That's where I thought it was going. Not even close. So I give this movie a 5, and I haven't given a lot of 5s. But this one deserves it. And I read some of the reviews, and some people felt like it was a tad bit too slow. I only felt that way at the very beginning. I was just riveted by the performances, really. And again, now I'm reading subtitles. So I'm telling you what I thought about the dialogue. I don't know if the dialogue that I read is 100% what the dialogue was. I imagine it's pretty close. But again, really grounded, really realistic. It reminded me of like Malayalam films, which I always say are really grounded. But this was just so it was just so real. And then the last part of the film that I won't spoil is raw and heartbreaking. And it's not like I can't even say that, but it's an emotional film, and I loved it. And I thank you for recommending that film. And I also think it might be up. India might put this up for the Oscar. I mean, it was that good, and it wasn't like it's not like a huge, big budgeted film, but it didn't need to be. Like realistic locations, just an excellent film, really. So that's my review of that, and I would love to know what you guys think if you've seen this film. What did you think about it? Again, I don't give a lot of fives, but this one really, I was thinking about it the next day too, and that's when I know a film, has done something for me when I think about it the next day, and this film did that. But great performances too, very naturalistic, really. So check it out if you have not seen it. Okay. One other thing I'm going to do, and someone recommended this, and I don't have my notes in front of me, but I love this idea. So a lot of you have been giving me ideas on how to grow the channel, and I appreciate that. And so I swear I'm trying to do some of the stuff you said, but someone had a very interesting idea that a lot of people don't want the long format videos like I do. And when we say long, they're 20 minutes, 25 minutes at the most, right? But he suggested, and again, I'm assuming it's a he. I don't know if you're a she. Let me know. Um, to put out when I put out the long form, also put out a short form where I kind of just give the grades and a few bullet points about the film, and put that in the shorts because more people will probably watch that, and that could help build the channel. And within that short, you tell people if you want to see the long format, go check out the longer video. I think I'm going to do that starting with this one, the first of the year. So I really appreciate that idea, and I'm going to give it a go. So far, so good. I would love to do something live, and one of these days I'm going to figure out because I love to have you guys on the show talking with me. Some of you said you'd do it. Some of you are like you don't want to do it, but I would love that if I could figure out a way to do that. But anyway, so that's it. So do me a favor. Now that we've hit the 2,500, I hope. Subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, and as always, please share because that's really why the subscriptions have jumped up because you guys, I've seen the data, I've seen the analytics, and that's what it's telling me. So I want you to know how much I appreciate that, really. And I'm looking forward to a big 2026 because there's a lot of big films coming out that I got to go to the theater to see. And the more of you that are on the channel, the more recommendations I get. I love the fact that you guys are like, John, there's a trailer just came out. You got to get on this. You got to get on this. It's so funny. And while I'm home working, it's easy for me to do that. When I go on the road, it's going to be a little more difficult, but that's okay. We'll get to it. Okay. So again, 2025, great year. And I got to tell you, the last 2 months have been crazy because of your support. And I want you to know how much I appreciate that. I really do. So that's it. We'll talk to you soon on John Talks Indian Cinema with another movie review, a trailer reaction, a song reaction, or as I always say, something completely different. Thanks for watching, everybody, and Happy New Year.